Hello, today we're going to talk about how to set up your S7 chip to be able to program using PLD mode in multisim. If you need to, please pause the video to wire it as seen in the picture. Now, to set up your global preferences, you want to go to Options and you want to go to down at the bottom and select X-Links and then Vivaldi and then whatever the number is at the time. This may change, the number part may change. Once you've done that, it's a one-time setup and you are complete. Then from there, go to File, New, and start a PLD design. Make sure you do start a PLD design. Then you want to select the board, which is the Digilent PLTW S7. Create your file name, so whatever you're going to name your circuit. In this case, I'm going to name it half adder because we are going to try a half adder circuit. Now we can select all sorts of options. These are different inputs and outputs. For now, we're going to uncheck all, and you could choose button 0 and button 1. Those are automatically built into the chip. You actually don't need the wiring to get those to work. There are also options for LEDs, which are built into the chip as well. But for now, we're going to choose two of our pins, which if you wired it correctly should be programmed to work with switch 0 and switches 1. And we're also going to bring in an LED. Now you'll notice it compiles them so that your inputs are on the left and your outputs are on your right. Now when we place gates in here, we don't look up the 74LS, we just look up the gate for what it's called. So to make a half adder, as you hopefully remember, we need an XOR and an AND gate. So we're going to find both. Now the numbers after each one is how many inputs it is. So there's like a 3 input, a 2 input, and so on and so forth. And we're going to drag our LED over so that way it's a little smaller of a space to work in. And we'll move our inputs, which are our pins, which are hooked to our switches. That's because we wired it onto the board. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my pins to my XOR and my AND gates. See, I put A and B into other leads and then did the same for A and B on the AND gates. So now we need to do our output. So we're going to bring out our sum, which is off the XOR. Now, we forgot to do our carryout LED, so I just wanted to show you how to bring that in. So we're going to go to the upper left. You'll notice there's buttons for inputs and outputs. We're going to select LED 2 and bring that in to represent our carryout signal. Now you can also test your circuit. If you go up to the top and select, I usually do start at the gate button and select this menu. It's much shorter than what you're used to. And you can select an indicator and then pick a color probe. And then you can also do, we'll do two different probes, red for carryout, green for sum. And we're going to select our sources and we can bring in interactive digital constants. And this won't affect your programming. So you can go ahead and leave these in your circuit. They're good for testing and good for checking out whether everything's working. So what I typically do is I kind of place them out of the way and then just wire them straight to where they should be. So this will represent inputs A and B. X1 and X2 will represent our sum and our carryout. So we'll go ahead and play our simulation, make sure it is working the way it should. So if I choose 1 on either one of these, I should get a sum of 1, which I do. And then if I turn them both on, I get a sum of 0 with a carryout of 1. So it works the way it should. So now we'll begin programming this. So we're going to go to Transfer, Export to PLD. Go ahead and leave the settings the way they are. Just click Next. Then from there, we're going to check to see if our device is connected. So we're going to click Refresh. I'm going to speed this up a little so you don't have to wait for this part. As long as it says detected, you're all set. If it doesn't, you may need to move to a different computer or something may be wired incorrectly. Now we need to change this file path. So we're going to go to Program Files x86, and then we're going to go to National Instruments, then Circuit Design Suite 14.1, and then PLD config, and you want to find the one that has S7 in it, the PLTW S7. Go ahead and open that and click Finish. And if it does pop up you're overriding, it means that you've already done this file before. In my case, I did as practice. So now we're going to speed up. This can take a bit, so don't be worried if it does take a while for it to actually program. And hopefully there's no errors. So this should program right in. And then once we're set, I'll show you what the board looks like. So this is what the board looks like, all wired in, and it's all turned on. You do have to make sure that it is plugged into the USB. So here's where the pins are that we just programmed, and here's the LEDs built into the board. And now it is wired to the switches, so you'll notice that LED 0 turns on when I turn on either switch. And then if I turn them both on, you'll notice it switches over to LED 1 because that's our carryover, because 1 plus 1 equals 1, 0. Okay, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.